Second anniversary. Many employees who weren't into motorcycles before they went to work there are now.
There's an entire culture that revolves around motorcycles. There's a lot of people here that this is their first exposure to motorcycles.
Man, this is great. One of these days I'll get my own Harley.
Money from a raffle for a new motorcycle benefits the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
We're about to go now. Peter Fonda, eat your heart out. Bob Worley, KMBC 9 News.
He looks very much at home there, doesn't he? And Bob thanks drivers Mark Smith and Rick Wojtak, as well as cameraman Ralph Segura for making that story possible.
Yeah, Bob's got to get one of those jackets. He's working on that. All right.
He's a natural.
That's right. Well, it's the largest barbecue competition in the entire world, and it's in Kansas City, going on right now this weekend.
You can find the best grillers at the American Royal next to the Kemper Arena. This is a picture from one of our City View cameras, and you can probably see the haze from all the smokers and the grills on fire right now.
And Pete Grigsby, he's there right now. Have you had any chance, Pete, to sample all that stuff? Oh, man, it looks good.
You know, it really took a lot to convince me to send me out here to do the weather. You know, they really twist my arm in the newsroom. It's great out here. I mean, there's so much going on. Like you said, for the 100 years they've been doing this, this is the largest turnout and the biggest competition they've had so far. I've jotted down some facts here. 370 teams from 25 states are competing. Beef, chicken, and pork are being judged on taste and tenderness. And the public, of course, is invited. It runs through tonight and also through tomorrow, but there is an admissions charge, so keep that in mind. Now, there are other, for example, we've chosen Rubbed Raw is the name of the group. Some of the awards over here you can see, and I've been told that this is not their entire collection, but they're pretty darn good when it comes to, well, some of their barbecuing specialties. Greg is over here. Now, Greg, this is your specialty.
Yeah, we got some brisket we're cooking up and getting ready for tonight.
Now, you're telling me that you are judged according to the smoke ring?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons they look at the meat. They look at the smoke ring on the meat, the pink on the outside, and then it gets brown on the inside. So the smoke ring is one of the indications that the brisket was slow smoked.
Now, you're from Concordia, right?
Concordia, right.
Well, is this whole group here from Concordia?
Yeah, we've got a big group with us tonight and more coming in.
Let's hear it for Concordia. All right, you got some pretty stiff competition, though. What do you think, the outcome?
Well, I don't know. We're just going to have fun, and if we have fun and we get lucky, what the heck? We'll see what happens.
And a lot of food to eat, right?
That's right, plenty to eat.
Okay, well, let's talk about the weather forecast for a second. Here's what's been going on. First of all, let's check with our temperature on our live mobile van as you look. We've been recording anywhere from 72 to 75 degrees in different areas, and it's dropped down to the low 70s, but after reaching a high of 75, you can't complain, especially when it's the first day of October. Now, here's what it looks like on cloud scan. We do have a few clouds in the area, and it doesn't seem any threat to us, at least for this evening. But keep a close eye to the clouds to the north, because let me tell you something. You think last week's cold air that moved through on Monday, you think that was cold. Wait till this one gets a hold of us, especially by mid to late weekend. So for the radar, it doesn't show much at all. I mean, there is a little bit of rainfall and snow mixture up around South Dakota. And we're not expecting any snow here, but the temperatures will be dropping, especially in the Kansas City area come Saturday night into Sunday. Now, for our animation, you'll see that the cold front does move on through. It does set us up for a rather cold rest of the weekend. Temperatures will be dropping, but we're going to try to hold that off because we know with this American barbecue going on, we want a lot of people to come out and enjoy and just come out and smell the aroma around here. It's absolutely wonderful. Our forecast for the rest of the evening looking pretty good. Hardly a cloud in the sky, but the clouds do thicken, so overnight get ready for the temperature to drop just a bit. But then by tomorrow, that's where we'll really feel the difference once the winds begin to shift to a north direction. And of course, that temperature, 61 for a high, will be dropping throughout the day. That'll set us up. Well, let's go right to it. The 5-day trend, that 5-day forecast is showing a big drop, especially by Sunday. Monday, we slowly rebound, even though it's going to be kind of cold, and then we start to warm back up by midweek with plenty of sunshine. By the way, the skycast is looking really good. It's green again for tomorrow, but I know the ragweed and some of the mold spores and all that has been high again. Again, we are live at the American Royal BBQ. It's a great festivity going on throughout tonight. And one last time, Concordia, what do you think? Are you going to win it? All right, a lot of competition, but thanks for letting us be a part of this. The food is great, and of course, you know we've sampled it by now.
Yeah, don't sample too much, Pete.
Oh, I'll try to sneak some back to you.
We expect you back here at 10. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Pete. Well, the baby orangutan at the zoo now has a new name.
And they're doing more than cooking at the American Royal.
A rib, rub, ribby to the ribby, and the rib, rib, rub, and you don't stop and smoke it out, baby bubba, to the boogity base, base.
Weather has been brought to you by Health Midwest.
You want...
There is a way. We'll take a look next.
KMBC TV, Kansas City. Thanks, Kansas City, for making us #1. This is KMBC 9 News Weekend Edition. Coverage you can count on.
Kansas City police call it one of the worst wrecks in years, and one teenager's quick actions may have helped save lives. Good evening. Natalie has the night off.
The chain reaction accident started when a semi smashed into several cars, careened across traffic, and ended up on top of a police car. 9 people, including a Kansas City police officer, were rushed to hospitals after the pileup. But tonight we're told they are all going to be all right.
Now, for people who live along I-435, seeing accidents on the highway firsthand is nothing new.
KMBC 9's David Bowden talks with one family who hopes yesterday's accident will be a wake-up call for drivers.
I just knew that people got killed in this one. I mean, it's just, you know, it's God's miracle that nobody died in that accident.
Brad Fritz's home overlooks I-435. Fritz says he's watched thousands of drivers zoom past his home over the last 6 years, and he believes an accident like yesterday's was bound to happen.
He never had a chance, that's my opinion, but he never had a chance. Because the traffic was backed up all day yesterday because of this construction.
The 18-wheeler slammed into 6 cars before breaking through the newly installed steel barriers, crossing the highway and rolling over onto an oncoming police car. While Brad ran toward the highway, he noticed his son was running in the opposite direction.
I ran out here to look and see what was going on, and he ran right to the fire department. I mean, I'm just proud of him.
18-year-old BJ says he didn't have to see this one to know it was bad. The horrifying sound of grinding metal was enough.
I didn't even think twice to go to walk down here and see what happened. I just ran straight to the fire department.
In fact, BJ got to the fire department before the first 911 call came through.
Yeah, it always is good when somebody comes and tells us as soon as possible, because sometimes minutes makes all the difference.
BJ says while he's happy to help, he hopes he will never have to make that run to the fire station again. David Bowden, KMBC 9 News.
9 people were treated for injuries at area hospitals. 2 remain hospitalized in fair condition tonight.
And one step to make that stretch of I-435 safer, barrier cables separating the lanes on both sides of the highway. The Missouri Department of Transportation is paying $3 million to lace these kinds of cables along I-435. The cables act as webs, trapping cars before they head into oncoming traffic. In Saturday's accident, police say the cables helped slow the semi that crossed the interstate. MoDOT says the cables are well worth the money.
The people who have gone off the road, gone into it, said, you know, I didn't think that was going to stop me, but it did, and I'm glad it did.
Now the cables will stretch 20 miles along 435. The project should be done by the end of the year.
The Chiefs turn into lion tamers, picking up another win at Arrowhead.
Sports Director Dave Stewart is in the Sports Center with the highlights. Dave.
And you're not going to see any big runs out of former Chief Greg Hill in uniform for the Lions, but did not play this afternoon. The real deal, last play for the Chiefs back in 1997. That's the last time Dan Williams made a difference for the Chiefs defense, and Charlie Batch couldn't shake him. Sacks 1 and 2 for the year. Chiefs were good for 4 sacks total. 4 touchdown drives out of Kansas City. Each took only 4 plays. None better than that. To Joe Horn, horizontal, 31-21. Kansas City won it. Coming up in Sports Final, complete game day coverage. We will see you then.
All right, Dave. See you then.
A woman and 2 children crawl out of a mangled plane in Ray County. Investigators think the local pilot encountered mechanical problems and tried to make an emergency landing near Henrietta yesterday. He's in fair condition. The passenger's injuries are described as minor. A devastating end to a sightseeing trip in Hawaii.
News from inside America tonight. The sightseeing plane slammed into the side of a volcano on the Big Island of Hawaii on Saturday. Rescue crews reached the remote site this morning and found all 10 people on board were killed in the crash.
And federal investigators want to know why a vintage plane crashed in a Nashville neighborhood Saturday. The plane went down between two houses, killing the pilot and a passenger. The plane burst into flames, but firefighters got it under control before the flames spread to nearby homes.
Hundreds of Hurricane Floyd victims got together for services in the parking lot of a North Carolina church. It's all where a lot of people are going to get their clothes and relief supplies. Also, almost 16,000 North Carolina residents have applied for federal assistance since the hurricane hit. Authorities expect thousands more to apply.
Former Vice President Dan Quayle is dropping out of the race for president. He's scheduled to make an announcement tomorrow in Phoenix. Campaign organizers say Quayle could not compete with George Bush's fundraising success. And members of the Hells Angels motorcycle gangs say they're mad and they're not going to take it anymore. The Nevada chapter of the Hells Angels is suing the government. It claims the FBI and police are conspiring to harass members, making false arrests and traffic stops.
A chain of explosions leads to an eruption of flames in Mexico.
World News tonight. At least 50 people are dead and dozens injured in the city of Celaya in central Mexico.
Witnesses say a warehouse full of fireworks exploded, setting off a fire that blew up cooking gas tanks at nearby restaurants. The Mexican army has been called in to help seal off the area.
More miracles in Taiwan. More survivors found in the rubble. Two brothers rescued, both in their 20s, both trapped for more than 5 days. Powerful aftershocks are still shaking the island. At least 3 people died in the most recent tremor. In one town, people are so afraid of aftershocks, they're sleeping outdoors in tents.
And international peacekeepers are spreading out across the island of East Timor, and they are finding evidence of more killings and destruction. This convoy ventured into an area that's been cut off for weeks. Tens of thousands fled the fighting and now may be facing starvation. Well, the old saying is everyone talks about the weather, but no one does anything about it.
But what if you could make money off it? Coming up, we'll see how some people are actually investing money in the weather.
And next, parents, listen to this. Ways to make sure your child gets their homework done. Stay tuned.
From KMBC 9 News, coverage you can count on. This is the Weekend Edition with Natalie Moultrie, Maria Antonia, weather with Pete Grigsby, and sports with Dave Stewart.
Futures contract for snow.
All right, if we're going to invest in the weather, I would like to buy a few more days just like this right now.
Oh, I'll say some stock in Channel 9 weather. How's that?
Okay, perfect.
Hey, the best in town.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
you go. Our tracker is pretty good. It's looking good out there. I mean, if you need some rainfall, well, the rainfall is on its way. But first of all, we'll talk about tonight's picture. This comes from Alan and Sherry Murray from Excelsior Springs, Missouri. Today's high was 79, 95 the record on this date in 1938. There is rain. Pinpoint 9 Doppler radar is up next.
I'm Lori Everett with this week's KMBC.
Brought to you by Oldies 95.
We've been watching this cold front for a couple of days now, waiting for that cooler air to work its way into Kansas City, and finally it's beginning to. I'm glad of the timing, though, because it held off, so the Kansas City Chiefs game was perfect weather. A lot of cloud cover but no rain. Now it's time to talk about some rainfall. On our Instant Weather Network, we're getting some rainfall being detected west of here. On the Turnpike, 0.08 of an inch recorded. The wind still, though, from a south-southeast direction. And the rest of the Kansas City area, dry at this time, but just remember, it's on its way and it's just barely west of Kansas City. In fact, I'm going to check out there. Bonner Springs, you're at 73 degrees with the rainfall, and the wind southeast at 6 miles an hour. We recorded a gust around 28, and your pressure is rising. Pinpoint 9 Doppler radar showing the line of storms. No doubt you can detect it all the way up and down areas of northeast Kansas down through just north and northwest of Topeka. A little bit of light rain right ahead of all this, starting to move into areas like Platte County. In fact, I'm going to zoom into there. Here's Platte City. You had a thunderstorm earlier. It looks like it's weakened quite a bit, and some moderate rainfall still kind of drifting easterly. And like I said, it's very light at this time, but we could get some heavy downpours later on this evening into the overnight hours as its system moves on through. I'm going to take it back in time just a bit, and this is what it looked like later this afternoon. This is all the cloud cover, and then for about 4 hours worth recording, you just see a few breaks in it. If you look closely, you see the sunshine kind of peeking through. Oh, there it is. Oh, it kind of went quickly. But it's just been a cloudy day, and we finally get some rainfall in here. So what's going to happen is, with the cold front moving through, our temperatures will be dropping. Now, here's how it looks on the regional view. Very quiet to the south, but once you get up to the north, around Kansas City and northwest, we got quite a bit of lightning being detected. And because of this severe weather potential, there is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect just southwest of here for portions of Kansas and Oklahoma until 11 o'clock tonight. Now, we are not under that watch. However, we could get a couple of strong storms for the overnight hours. Well, the leading edge of that cool air creating all this rain is just barely west of Kansas City. It's going to spark a few showers for the overnight and through tomorrow. There are going to be some rain showers behind the actual front, but this is the main kicker here. Cooler conditions. Temperatures will be dropping quite drastically as we get into Monday and Tuesday. Monday's high around 59 to 60 degrees, and here it comes, knocking on our back door. That thermometer is going to be dropping just like this time last week. Overnight, 59 degrees and some scattered thunderstorms, and for tomorrow, 61 with the temperature dropping throughout the day. As for our 5-day trend, it gets a little cooler, even on Tuesday and Wednesday, and our highs barely reaching 57 and 59. Thursday back up to 60 and 62 on Friday. So it has been rather warm, above average for the past 3 days. Now we're going to drop below average just because of this one system moving through.
All right, and it looks like the rain's headed in tonight.
Well, definitely some rainfall.
All right, thanks, Pete.
Well, it felt almost like summer around here, but some folks are ready to celebrate fall.
Why next? KMBC 9 News at 10 starts now.
KMBC TV, Kansas City. Thanks, Kansas City, for making us #1. This is KMBC 9 News at 10. Coverage you can count on.
Good evening. It has happened again. Dangerous explosives in the wrong hands tonight.
It's our top story tonight at 10. The explosives have been stolen, and the ATF tells us it's happening more often than you might think. Jeremy Hubbard in the News Center. Jeremy, this makes 2 times in just a few weeks.
That's right, Larry. The first time was at a rock quarry outside of Olathe, and just days ago, police arrested a man in that case. Now, in Cascade.
Plus, the price of milk could be changing. We'll let you know how it'll affect your pocketbook.
And the key to surviving breast cancer is detecting it at an early stage. We're going to tell you how a nose spray is giving women a second lease on life. That and much more when KMBC 9 News at 10 continues.
From KMBC 9 News, coverage you can count on. Laurie Everett, Larry Moore, Chris Ketz with live reports, meteorologist Brian Busby, and sports with Len Dawson. You're watching KMBC 9 News at 10. Closed captioning provided by Kansas City Power and Light, who remind you that there's a little Kansas City in all of us.
Roasted while he considers arguments in a lawsuit to block the plan filed by several northeastern dairy cooperatives.
The average woman has a 10% chance of getting breast cancer in her lifetime. Add in a strong family history, and that risk can rise to 80%. But as we prepare for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Health Watch reporter Kelly Eckerman shows us how a simple nasal spray may lower those numbers.
You all right, Sydney? Nobody picked on you? She's a 25-year-old mom with a strong family history of breast cancer, but Brandy Burbridge calls herself lucky.
I know that it's, in the family, and I can look for it now.
And find it early thanks to a simple nasal spray she's testing once a day. Inside is a drug called deslorelin. Dr. Jeffrey Weitzel says it should make mammograms easier to read.
These white areas are what we call density on a mammogram.
Young women have very dense breasts showing white on x-rays, making it difficult to spot cancer, which also appears as a white area on the x-ray.
This is what we're hoping to accomplish in your case.
But after 6 months on the nasal spray, the breast appears less dense and darker, making it easier to spot abnormal lumps.
If I do happen to get breast cancer, they'll detect it so soon that it won't really be a major issue for me.
The spray works by shutting down the production of estrogen.
It's a medicine that shuts down the ovary, sort of a medical menopause.
Lean forward.
The goal is to make mammograms easier to read, but doctors believe decreasing a woman's exposure to estrogen may do much more.
We fully expect that their breast cancer risk will go down. In other words, they'll be less likely to develop breast cancer and possibly even ovarian cancer.
You have to move.
So far, Brandy shows no sign of the disease that killed her mother and grandmother, and she's hopeful she never will.
Good boy!
Kelly Eckerman, KMBC 9 Health Watch.
The nasal spray is still being tested. It's not commercially available just yet. Now, as a group, women take medicine more often than men do, and now new studies show women also misuse more medicine. That's why the Food and Drug Administration just put out a new brochure to educate women on how to safely use medicines and how to dispense them to their families. It's called My Medicines. It reminds readers to read all labels, keep a record of prescription drugs your family uses, and ask questions about those medications.
Two young people may be saving lives when they grow up. 12-year-olds Farron Caldwell and Jim Tyner won the Junior Fire Chiefs Essay Contest. They had the best essays on fire safety. The Kansas City City Council also recognized their achievements. Here's a little trivia. Can you name one of the slowest moving animals on Earth? Stick around and we'll show you the answer.
Also, a candid Playboy interview with Governor Jesse Ventura. Are his sights set on the White House? We'll tell you what he says about that. And we're looking at a big change in our forecast.
As a matter of fact, you're talking about things that move slow. Things that move quickly. This time of year, cold fronts really pass through very quickly, and that means changes once again right in time for the weekend. Tonight's weather photograph, peaceful, serene sunset right there. Oh, it's beautiful. Lisa Dafina of Vineland, Kansas. 73 and 42 today. The records you see on the right-hand side of the screen, and we're going to be closer to the bottom this weekend. Forecast up next.
950. ES shown 24905.
Very nice day in Kansas City with lots of sunshine, fairly low humidity. We don't have to worry about rain tonight, but that will be changing toward the weekend. And that's not the only thing that's changing. Probably temperatures will also. Reviewing today, though, from our instant weather reporting stations, winds have been pretty light all day today. You can see the times that our highs occurred at our various locations, and they were in the 70s. And this morning, in the 50s or the 40s, the coolest down toward Belton, Health Midwest there, 42 degrees. And I guess the warmest from that sampling, Park College up at Parkville, 50 degrees for morning temperature. Lots of clear skies from our City View camera looking back toward downtown. We aren't going to fall off much tonight. We're currently in the middle 60s, 65 degrees, higher humidity about 72%. Weather Watcher reports, well, they're also very comfortable for tonight. Open air housing to make you feel even more in that comfortable range. 55 for Platte City, as well as Leavenworth. 59 in Excelsior Springs from Kellen. 59 also in Lee Summit. The coolest 54 down in Stillwell. Now let me talk about the cold fronts. This is what they look like on the weather map. And as I already alluded to at the desk, these things move through pretty fast this time of year, and the result is a roller coaster ride of some sort. In other words, frequent bumps in temperature, either upward or downward. And that's probably what we're going to experience. Well, look at the last 5 days. Remember Sunday? Very nice. Close to 80 degrees, and then we're gradually climbing back into the 70s, as was the case today. So can you tell where the front moved through? Yep, between Sunday and Monday, when we went from 79 for a high down to Monday's high temperature of 56. Can you see the front? Well, it's to the north. A lot of cloud cover, especially over the northern parts of Montana going toward Wyoming. We don't have any moisture to tap into yet, and that's why we're probably going to be dry for most of the daytime hours tomorrow. But eventually the winds will turn more to the south and bring some of that moisture back into our sky in the form of heavier clouds. And then again, a chance of rain toward tomorrow night. It's all going to be ushered in by a frontal system that will move through. Friday won't be here, but by Saturday, will be a lot chillier. And then by Sunday, it moves all the way down to the Gulf Coast region. So that means that things will start to fall off significantly with regard to temperature. Look at this. For afternoon highs on Sunday, near 50 degrees. And so by Sunday night, some areas could be into the 30s. Not necessarily freezing, but a lot colder air to start the next work week. 49 overnight, southwest winds at 5 to 10. Some patchy stars out there. Clouds will continue to invade during the afternoon. Look at our high temperature. Memorize it, live it. 75, that's the last mild one for a while. By tomorrow night, we start to see some rain moving in. 51 our low as the winds turn to the northwest. And then Saturday's high temperature only recovers to 58 degrees as that colder air spills in. And then on Sunday, a high of 50, and then possibly the upper 30s Monday morning, high temperature of 52, and only a high, mind you, a high of 55 on next Tuesday. Within 2 of the official thermometer out of KCI. But notice how there's going to be less mercury in that thermometer as we start next week. So those 70s, thing of the past.
It was lovely while it lasted.
Well, it was.
Well, we have one more day, which is tomorrow, so enjoy.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Well, it's not your usual interview, but then again, he's not your
This begins the new tape.
If you would like to know more about today's turn of events with Benjamin Demps, you can simply log on to our website at thekansascitychannel.com. There you will be able to read Demps' statement and even voice your own opinion over all that has happened.
So how did it get to this point? We all know relations between the board and Demps have not been good for months, but it wasn't until last Wednesday when things really started heating up.
The Kansas City, Missouri School Board has voted to relieve Benjamin Demps of his duties as superintendent of the Kansas City, Missouri School District effective immediately.
In a controversial emergency board meeting, Demps is fired.
Surprised by the process. I understand only 5 members of the board were involved in the discussion. I am disappointed. We never had the chance to even negotiate a contract. I wish the very best for the children of Kansas City.
In a remarkable turn of events, on Thursday, federal judge Dean Whipple reinstates Demps as superintendent. Demps says he wants to stay on the job and improve the district.
It allows me and the staff the opportunity to get back to the work and continue to focus on the education of our children.
Some board members are on the defensive.
Well, we didn't fire Mr. Demps. We're just not going to renew Mr. Demps' contract, and that's within our statutory rights.
The bumpy ride continues on Friday. Attorneys for the board and the teachers union file a petition to stop Demps from getting his job back.
They have the right to do that under the statute. They don't violate any law.
The frustrated board meets again on Saturday. It ratifies the petition filed Friday 6-3, appealing the decision to reinstate Demps.
And according to the court order, it would prohibit us from making any decisions at all.
Demps resigned early this morning saying he had enough. So what's next for him, the district, and the children? As of now, Demps has no immediate plans to move back to Oklahoma. As for last week's federal ruling overturning the board's decision to fire Demps, today Judge Dean Whipple lifted that order. On Friday, he will meet with board members and ask them to explain their actions. When it comes to the students and the district, many lawmakers say they favor a state takeover and will be looking into the issue right away. We'll continue to follow this story for you as it unfolds. Well, I went out the door this morning with a light jacket on, had to go back and get a heavier coat, a little like winter early this morning.
Oh my gosh, I bundled up the kids this morning, and what are we going to have to do tomorrow?
Oh, what a change in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Severe weather, potential one day, and all of a sudden you're talking about winter jackets you might need.
Right.
That's right.
We could get a little bit of frost in scattered areas late tonight, so the cold air has definitely made it and lived up to its name as the cold front moved on through. But at least things are quiet tonight, and that is the good news. Our picture takes you way out to Montana. This was taken by John Davis of Osawatomie, Kansas. High today, believe it or not, was in the 60s, but guess what? That didn't happen until just after midnight as the temperatures dropped throughout the entire day. In fact, by this afternoon, temperatures struggled to get back into the 50s. Now, will the cooler air stay with us? There's your almanac, 66 and 41, and then normally we're around 68 and 46. Cool air with us, but will it warm up soon? We'll talk about that in detail in First Alert Weather. Larry, Laura?
Thanks, Pete. Local relief on the way to a small central Kansas community after a tornado destroys hundreds of homes and buildings.
Plus, you might want to gas up now before you hit the road. Prices are climbing again just in time for summer. We'll tell you what's behind this latest increase.
And the Missouri twins who made headlines after being sold on the internet get a visit from their biological parents. The latest in their custody battle next when KMBC 9 News at 10 continues.
From KMBC 9 News, Kansas City's news leader, Laura Moritz, Larry Moore, Chris Katz with live reports, meteorologist Brian Busby, and sports with Len Dawson. You're watching KMBC 9 News at 10. Coverage you can count on.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Headache and Pain Center. It's all in the way we treat you.
Hey, one twister cut a path about 2 miles wide, completely destroying the property on 5 farms. The second twister touched down near Meade, Nebraska. No one, though, was seriously hurt.
Getting a lot of severe storms this spring, and we're not even into the month of May yet.
I know, that's true.
Now you know why we were a little concerned starting last Wednesday. That is one major storm system that created the severe weather west of here and north of here.
Right.
We dodged the bullet.
We sure did.
We did. Now, we talked about the F scale. That's a scale measuring the strength of a tornado. F4 was the one in western Kansas for a couple of nights ago. This is from the Fujita scale or the F scale. If you want more information on this and all about tornadoes, you can go to our website, thekansascitychannel.com.
and learn all about that, even print it out for yourself to keep. Now the F4, which is the one that was just west of Salina a couple of nights ago, was anywhere from 207 to 260 miles an hour. That is the wind speed. Remember about 2 years ago, the ones that ripped through Oklahoma City, those were F5s, 261 and greater. So that is the scale we go by. You can see it's devastation, a lot of damage being done because of that system. Now downtown Kansas City is a very calm and quiet night. We're at 54 degrees. Our relative humidity at 57%, and I like seeing the winds dying off. Remember how windy it's been the past 4 days. It's nice to see them down to single-digit numbers, anywhere from 5 to 10 at the most. So it should be rather light for the entire day. Pinpoint 9 Doppler radar is also very quiet. No green, no yellow, no red, nothing going on for western Missouri and eastern Kansas, so a quiet night from the sky. Remember the rainfall we had last night. How does it do for our total so far for the year of 2001? Not bad, when normally for Kansas City, we should be around 6.9 inches. Remember how dry it was this time last year? Look at this year, more than 13 inches of rainfall, and we're still counting the numbers because, well, it should be a dry this week, but we're looking pretty good in that surplus. Well, let's talk about what's going on out there now. A little bit of cloud cover to the east, but clearing skies all the way to the west, especially north-northwest. What's going to happen is we have some high pressure working its way in. It's going to settle right in just south of Kansas City, and it's going to provide beautiful weather for the next couple of days. Pleasantly cool, but we are going to start warming things up. We got on the backside of this high, and that's why we're expecting those 60s to return, and 70s coming very close. So each and every day this week, we'll get a little warmer for you. For the rest of the overnight, just be prepared. Patchy light frost in different areas as we drop to all the way 35. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine back into the 60s. 67 for a high. Sunrise, 6:29. Sunset, 8:02. How quiet is it? How about the 5-day trend? Hardly anything on there but good old orange sunshine. 72, 79, on up to 81 and 82 for the weekend, and overnight lows 56 and 60. All right, Larry, let's go out and wash our cars tomorrow.
But chilly tonight, right?
Chilly tonight, but getting warmer, back to where we should be for this time of year.
Just wait a few more days before you plant those tomatoes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It'll be
Beautiful
warm.
week.
Frost will be gone.
Thank you, Pete.
We have a look at soaring gas prices coming up later.
But first, your sports utility vehicle might not be as safe as you think. We'll show you how small SUVs stand up in a crash. That's next.
Weather has been brought to you by Health Midwest, your complete family of healthcare services.
The bands perform music from Count Basie, Tom Kubas, Frank Foster, and others. A night of music in Kansas City, Kansas.
We can dance because of our weather.
Oh, light wind, clear skies. I'm dreaming, right?
No, that's reality, isn't it?
That's right. No, tomorrow you're right.
So don't tell us you were kidding us.
All right, we'll take it. Plenty of sunshine, 67. Such a kidder, huh? Southwest winds at 5 to 10, and your sunset tomorrow at 8:02. Enjoy it. Beautiful day on hand.
All right, that's our news for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Seinfeld is next, followed by Cheers.
Don't forget First News tomorrow morning at 5. We'll all see you again tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.
You can reach us on the web at thekansascitychannel.com.
See, to me, you go in next week, but some of them have known since a 1999 meeting. Sure signs of spring, a little bit warmer today, pretty nice.
I think today was almost perfect.
Pretty good.
And Pete joins us from the News Center. Pete, what can we expect? What's around the bend?
I expect maybe all of us not even coming to work tomorrow. How about that one? Beautiful weather out there indeed. A little bit of rainfall being detected on Pinpoint 9 Doppler radar. We'll have that for you a little later. But we're going to take a trip across the state of Missouri. Tonight's picture was sent in by David Newman of Chanute, Kansas. But he took a trip to St. Louis and grabbed this beautiful picture of the arch out there, the gateway to the west. 69 was the official high at the airport after dropping down to a morning low of 37. 68 normally with the low 47. Looks like we're right on schedule. So what about this rainfall, and will this nice warmer air stay with Kansas City? A lot to talk about in weather, and that's coming up a little later. Larry, Laura?
All right, thank you. Well, a musical icon is coming to Kansas City. We'll tell you who she is and when you can get tickets.
Also, life in Antarctica. A woman shares her extraordinary experience with some local Girl Scouts. We'll hear from them later.
Also, another teenager gets hurt trying to imitate MTV's stunt show Jackass. You won't believe what happened this time, and it's all caught on tape.
Plus, a man in Britain may have contracted the foot and mouth disease. We'll tell you what officials are saying next when KMBC 9 News at 10 continues.
From KMBC 9 News, Kansas City's news leader, Laura Moritz, Larry Moore, Chris Katz with live reports, meteorologist Brian Busby, and sports with Len Dawson. You're watching KMBC 9 News at 10. Coverage you can count on.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Headache and Pain Center. It's all in the way we treat.
If you're tired, doctors say prescription medication will help just as well without making you drowsy. That's tonight's Health Watch report. Larry and Laura, back to you.
Oh, those beautiful flowers from all the beautiful fragrance from all those flowers out there in beautiful weather like this, but there's the allergy problem that Kelly's talking about.
Yeah. Beautiful conditions, though. Now you know why there was roll call in the newsroom today.
That's right.
And there may be tomorrow.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
right.
they'll be really
no,
on top
it's going to be a
of
really
tomorrow.
bad day tomorrow, right? Anyway, some of the highs today on the InstaWeather Network. 69 was at the airport. That was nice.
But there was no wind.
Yeah.
You noticed that, didn't you?
That's what made it so perfect even early in the morning.
And the drier air, it's not very humid. I mean, it is kind of the perfect day.
See how attentive I am?
Oh, yeah. 75 for Park University, and the high today for Indian Springs at 73. Let's head outside and look at City View camera. And you're right, the winds have really died off. It has been so windy the past several days, but now with the winds dying off, we don't really have much concern at all. I mean, really not much activity. Outside, as you look at downtown, it is down to 64. Our relative humidity also indicating how dry the air is, only at 37%, and the winds from a south direction from 5 to 10 miles an hour. No rainfall downtown, but look at this. A little bit of green popping up north of the city, most of it on the Missouri side around St. Joseph, and those of you like in Clinton County. Now, that normally would show a light to moderate shower, but remember the air is so dry, a lot of that is evaporating before hitting the ground. However, some of you are getting a few raindrops even as we speak. It will not last very long. It's a very weak system moving through rather quickly. Let's talk about some of the highs around the region. Now, you know Kansas City was around 69. That was about the same for even down south in Chanute, a little cooler to the east across Missouri. But once you get in Kansas, this kind of shows you where that warmer air is coming from the south and from the west, and it's migrating closer to us. So we are going to get a taste of this by tomorrow. So each and every day it seems like we are going to be warming up. Here's that weak disturbance we pointed out on Pinpoint 9 Doppler radar. Look at the line of cloud cover all the way from the western Great Lakes down through just north of Kansas City, all the way down. It's a very, we call it an area of a trough. It's an area of low pressure, and it's going to kind of scoot across overnight tonight, but no threat of any rainfall for us even come tomorrow. In fact, you can see the very light rain all up and down this entire region. What's in control? It's high pressure. High pressure brought us to clear skies today. It'll do so again tomorrow. We might have a few high clouds, but that's really about it, as the pleasant conditions will continue. We're in a nice pattern right now. The jet stream has somewhat migrated northward, and it's allowing this milder air. The mild is just going to settle right in, and the warmer air just kind of filter in. So we are going to warm up, and it looks as though the colder air is going to be locked up to the north for a little bit, probably in the next several days. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the overnight. 46 southwest winds at 10 to 15. Clouds here and there. Those of you north of the city, a few sprinkles late tonight. And then 75 tomorrow, so a little warmer than it was today. Sunrise 6:27, sunset 8:05, and go ahead and watch the card tomorrow because the rest of the week is looking pretty good. By the way, at Arrowhead Stadium, the World Cup qualifiers going on at 6:30. We're expecting the clear skies and 70 degrees, but the winds will be picking up again, about 15 to 20 miles an hour, and for Thursday on up to 80. Now on the 5-day trend, let's look for that next chance of major storm system. Hey, there is not one on there. 81 for Friday, 82 for Saturday, 83 Sunday, and overnight lows into the 50s, near 60. So we just warm up each day, and a very quiet pattern. It's going to get a little more humid by the time we get to the weekend, but still. It's a nice break from having that severe weather potential, and it's not there this week.
Good.
Looks pretty good, Pete.
That's right. Enjoy it while it's here.
Yes, exactly.
Well, she took control years ago, but now she's doing it all for you. Coming up later, we'll tell you who this musical icon is and when she'll make a tour stop in Kansas City.
Plus, Americans spend $9.99 for every $10 that you hit #1 on the Billboard charts. It's her 10th trip to the #1 slot. Tickets go on sale this Saturday starting at 10 a.m.
And
you know that song, don't you, Larry?
I just want to dance now. 75 degrees tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, a few high clouds. The winds will be picking up just a bit from the west direction at 5 to 15 miles an hour. A good day to wash a car or drag a tire.
Sure.
For 3 hours on gravel roads. Oh, that's a great idea. That's our news for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Seinfeld is next, followed by Cheers.
And don't forget First News tomorrow morning at 5. We'll all see you again tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.
You can reach us on the web at thekansascitychannel.com.
Here's what happened last week, in case you missed it. You know who that is? That's